honestly, I was really upset with the quality of that camera. And I started walking all around my house. We're in my old office right now. So I started walking around my house and stuff to see like where the lighting could be better. And here we are. We finally figured it out. So with that being said, we're probably going to be start doing lives here more often. You know, I have my altar over there. And I asked if it was okay to start doing readings in here again for my channel only. And yes, so once I fix it up and stuff like that, we're going to do readings here. But I also wanted to, since I just hopped on live and wasted your time in telling you that, I figured I'll just do another bonus reading just for today for the next 24 hours, okay? So it's like a redo, kind of. So we're going to shuffle the cards and see what's going on. Right now, the angle is a little awkward, but that's, again, because I was not planning on hopping on live. I will fix the room up again, and we'll have like a whole nice little setup over here. All right, so what are the vibes just for today? Or from 24 hours of when you see this reading? Let's see. Of course we're going to talk about sex. What else do we do on this channel? Of course we are. Right? But what I'm seeing here is we have some people who are turning down sex. Like, no, I can't. Not right now. Don't do it. Okay? And someone is working hard to try to get in your pants. Really, Spirit? This is what you want from me? This is what we're doing over here today. So, someone's trying really hard to get in your pants. Now what? Do they get there? And you're like, but I don't have feelings for you. I don't know if I made this public. It might be unlisted, which kind of sucks. I don't know. But regardless, someone's like, but you're not my soulmate. Are they? Are they right about that? Are they wrong? Okay, listen. Here's the deal. We have someone who is going to try very hard to get very close to you. And you're like, I'm just focusing on me right now. I'm just doing my things. We don't need to do this. And they're like, no, you don't understand. I want to do this. And they're going to keep pursuing you, not only today, but they're going to keep pursuing you for like another 3 months. But it looks like they really like pump it up today. Pump it up, pump it. All right. So then, see, it's happening now. Exactly. So this is happening now. And then you're like, I don't know what to do. You keep looking at all these text messages that they're sending you, right? And you're like, what do I do? What do I do? And they're like, let me just talk to you. You should let me love you. Let me be the one to, right? Do you give in or no? See, you're not having it. You're not. Because here you are. You're like, this is not what I asked for. You might be talking to Spirit, but like, this is not what I asked for, okay? And, but Spirit, on the other hand, is kind of like, what are you saying, Spirit? Yes, you did. See? Yes, you did. It's what you asked for. Might not be who you asked for, but it's what you asked for. Spirit doesn't like, I'll tell you something. Spirit doesn't give a shit about who you want. Right? Put nicely. But they do listen to not so much what you want, but what you need. That's the better way of saying it, right? So, like, Spirit, this is what I need in my life. And in your mind, you were like, this person. Because they have these qualities. Well, you have to simplify that for them, okay? and because they're in a different dimension. Therefore, communication can kind of get a little lost sometimes. Even though, trust me, they understand you very well. So what they hear is, I need blah, 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 blah. Why I need it? Because of these characteristics. Because they do X, Y, and Z. They said, okay, we will get her someone who does X, Y, and Z. Or him. We will get him someone who gets X, Y, and Z. Right? And they completely bypassed the name that you said. And the reason why they bypassed the name is because sometimes we be asking for shit that is really not for us. And that really isn't in our best interest. But we think it's in our best interest at that exact moment, right? And you're like, but they're my person. And you're like, no, bitch, they're not. They're not. Right? And you're like, but why? I don't understand. And I keep hearing that it's because, we have free will at the end of the day. And you're like, because this person's way too much fucking work. And it's like, do you really want to stay on your tippy toes for hours on end? Probably not. Most people, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. And this is not the fairy tale that you wanted. It's like almost like you're having a debate with spirit. And that might be what I'm going to call this, having a debate with spirit. And what they're saying is, like, we know, okay, we're just going to talk about time again in different dimensions, all right? Time is not a thing. Let's start with that. Time is not a thing. Time is fluid. But you ever wonder why, if you ask for a sign, or like, how does spirit know that this is going to happen, or, whatever, because it's already happened over there. We're behind on time, right? So we don't see what's happening, but they're like a few weeks ahead. So they can kind of give us the heads up a little bit, and that's why they give us signs and stuff like that. And that's how they are able to tell us how to navigate in our current lives. Okay. So once we are able to grasp this, okay, and get this knowledge, we then are able to put all the anger and resentment and whatever aside and become more of a balance. Right? And this is when the true healing begins. So, now, let's go back to this person who was quote-unquote trying to get in your pants. And you were like, no, you're not my person. And then I kind of feel like spirit's like, but they kind of are. You're welcome. What did I say I was going to call this? A debate with spirit? Yeah. So, here you are, because we're living in a 3D. We don't know what's going on. Here you are. And you're creating delays for yourself. And so, yeah, because you're not interested. You are not interested. Okay? So now we have a conflict arising. We have a problem. And the problem is, I think I know what I want better than you know what I want. And it kind of does feel like, like a little kid, like, but I want this. Like, no, you can't have that because whatever. And it's like something super stupid. And then they're like, no, but I want that. And you're like, no, like, you can't. Right? And I'm going to find out why you can't in a second. And you're like, right? And you're like, I just saw this video, maybe early this morning or last night. It was on TikTok. Anyways, it was a little kid. He was speaking Spanish. It was like a Spanish father. And the son was being really stubborn about what he wanted. And the dad was like, no, but you can't do that. And then the little kid just not giving up to the point where people thought that this kid was actually in danger, right? Because of like how dramatic he was being. And he's like, and the dad in Spanish, he was like, and I'm surprised I did not see it in the comments as to like what the dad was saying. I thought it was actually kind of funny. You could tell he was just annoyed. It was just like a parent being a parent. And he was like, que maldita sea. So he was like, what the fuck? Right? So, and that's kind of what like spirit's being like right now with you. You ever see those memes where spirit's like, right? That's kind of what this feels like. And spirit is like saying that to you, like, que maldita sea. Like we keep giving her the right person or giving him the right person or giving every sign, and you're like, no, I don't want it. So they're a little annoyed right now. They're like, one more time. So it's kind of funny. It's like funny and not funny. All right. So what's happening now? I was going into that. You're not interested. You're being a little stubborn. Spirit's like, right? Now what? Where do we go from here? Oh, see? Spirit's like, all right, fuck it then. You ain't gonna get shit. See? Oh, you don't want to manifest? Isn't that what you were doing? Oh, but we brought it to you and now you don't want it? Okay. You ain't getting shit. You done pissed off your spirit guides. I don't know about you, but I don't really like to piss mine off. It's not fun. Because then a lot of minor inconveniences start happening. And those minor inconveniences start adding up. We all go through it eventually at some point because, you know, we're all annoying to spirit at some point. I also feel the need to talk. I guess we're educating today. Okay? We're educating today. So what's happening is, what was I going to educate about right now? Hold on. Spirit, bring it back, please. Oh, what are spirit guides? So, people think that all of your spirit guides are this like magical being, whatever. And granted, some are, you know, but not every spirit guide is this magical being that like, oh, right? A lot of them, let's talk karma for a second. A lot of them are spirits that used to be people, right? So they still have emotions. They still are happy and annoyed and sad sometimes. And they still have feelings, okay? Because they were once people too. And they are assigned, I'm trying to like put it in easy terms. And they were assigned to you because, well, there's a few reasons, but one of the reasons might be because it's part of their karma to learn the lessons through you. It's like, okay, they went through their karma and they lived their stuff. They had, you know, whatever, they're on like their last life, blah, blah. Now they kind of leveled up to a spirit guide where at this point it's like, okay, you still have this one lesson that's not 100% clear yet. So now we're assigning this human to you, and this human has the same issue that you've been dealing with for however many lives. Now your job, because you've experienced it X amount of times, your job is to help them get through their karma. And by doing that, it helps you move on even further. So, I guess it's an educational video today. So, with that being said, we love our spirit guides because they are always going to be your team, right? That they were assigned to you. That's your team. They want to see you do well. And, but at the same time, sometimes they get tired too, because why wouldn't they get tired? It's like, sometimes we make them work way too hard. Let's be real. It's like sometimes we put extra work on for them, and it's like, why? Why do we do it? And it's because we haven't learned our lessons and all that stuff, right? But at the same time, they get tired of hearing our shit. You know, and I did not think that this conversation today was going to turn in this direction, but, you know, we're here. I guess it's there's my altar over there. Like, guess that's what we want to talk about. And they specifically, I asked before I came on here, you know, if it was cool to do the readings, and they told me no hotline readings in this room, only YouTube. I said, all right, no problem. And I said, is it cool if I go on live today? And they were like, yep. Or go back on live, should I say. So, I'm going to pull a couple more cards, get a few more messages. So you got some like little tidbit of information there. The point is, cut them some slack a little bit. Give them a little bit of a break sometimes. Because, you know, we could be a lot. Because there's plenty of times where they give us a break too. That's where gratitude comes in. Don't forget to say your please and thank yous, right? Shit is complicated. See, it's only complicated because you don't want this to be a new beginning. So, why not? Why are you so like, why are you so stubborn on this? I heard they're scared. Thank you, Spirit. There's a few things. You just have no idea where it's going to go. I keep seeing, and the person might live farther from you than you would like. And that idea scares you. Like the idea of long distance relationships scares the fuck out of you. You're like, well, so maybe this is like online dating, right? I don't see any online stuff yet. But somehow, some way, this person lives farther away and you're like, no, that's not for me. This is not what I want. But maybe, just maybe, exactly what you need is someone who's not in your immediate circle. Or maybe someone who's not in, you know, so when I was in college, I was taking a lot of philosophy and psychology courses because what I was going to school for at the time. And there, I forget the name of it, but there's actually something that is like pretty much called, oh God, I forget what it's called. Basically, it's like a, think of like a pyramid or a big circle, right? It's, okay, this is the town that you're in. So you have X amount of people here. And then when you go to work, your circle gets a little bigger because now you interact with the people from work. And if you go to school, same thing. If you work a little farther, then it kind of gets bigger because you're expanding out, right? But now let's say we're the people who live and born in the same place, we stay in one little town or whatever, then your little circle is like this small. So now you're limited to this little amount of people. And you're like, well, there's like no options out here for me, right? So now it's their spirit, your guides are saying that like maybe you need to branch out. Maybe your person is not in this little circle. And it's like, you know how the people work around here. You know what the life is like. Maybe you need to explore out a little bit. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I just keep seeing things about like expanding your horizons, right? So maybe what the real lesson here is that we need to look at ourselves and seeing what areas can we expand on. What areas can we grow in? Especially going into fall season. I kind of like this angle a little bit. It's kind of nice. I know you can't see the cards from here either, but we'll see. I'm going to bring another table in here. I'm not bringing a table that's in my she shed because that shit is heavy. I don't know how I even got it out of this room to begin with. But going back to what we were saying, I kind of see you doing some self-reflection and growing as a person around wintertime, going into wintertime. Can we get some final messages? Because I do have to also go to work later. I picked up a shift today, which I don't know why. I don't know why, but here we are. All right, final messages. Ooh, healing, healing, healing. Healing is on the rise. It's on the brink. It's like you're so close. You're right there. And you've come a long way. And that could be where the fear is coming from also. It's kind of like, because you've come a long way, you're scared of going backwards. I've been staring at this card for so long, and I wasn't sure at what point in the reading I was going to bring it out and talk about it. Hi! I'm actually about to end. This one's a better reading. I love it, you too. So I was saying that I came in here, so I was like the last reading I did today was like super shitty quality, and I was like so not happy with that. And I didn't think it was a great reading to begin with. So basically I went back into my old office, that's just upstairs in my room, or in my house, and my altar is back there, and I asked for permission to kind of come in and do readings, and I got an okay for YouTube readings, and that's it, just YouTube readings. So we are here, and as you can see, the camera looks way better than it has ever. So yeah, this one's a cool read. You should rewind this one, watch this one. I think there might be some messages for you here. So we talked about being at the brink of healing and the brink of change, but it's causing for self-reflection, and it's almost like you do have to take a step back. Oh yeah, being afraid to take a step back. That's what we were talking about. So, and it's almost like you do have to take a step back a little bit. Sometimes we need to remove ourselves from the situation, or sometimes we need to, because what's interesting is I never do this for numerology, but I'm doing it right now. I'm looking at the numerology. We have a 1 and a 9. I'm actually subtracting it, right? And this is letting me know that it's like, take that step back in order to move forward again. And I know that sounds really silly and it sounds really weird, but it's because sometimes it's like a different perspective, right? It's how do I explain it? Sometimes we need to, maybe it's a different path altogether. It's not the path that you thought. It's not that you were on the wrong path. It's just there's also a different option. Because now let's go into the 8s, okay? Now we're talking about numerology. I know I said I was going to get off 2222 when I looked at the time too. So the 2s talk about balance, of course. Then it brings to the 4s, which is what we're about to talk about right now, going to the 8s. So let's talk about numerology for a second. In the 8s, talk about balance. It's the infinity symbol, right? It's everything that comes around goes around. And more importantly, it's you were here, but what happens when you're here? You got to go back, right? So it's kind of like things, your life is kind of going like this, and you feel like, oh, fuck, I don't want to go back. You're like, you think it's a linear line and you got to go back. That's not the case. What it is that your life is trying to find balance. You're going to have highs and lows naturally. So now you were out here on the high. Now you got to go back over here and then go back another way. That'll make sense for someone, okay? So let's talk about the 4s now, because you break the 8s in half, it's evenly divided by 2, so it goes into a 4, right? The 4s talk about balance. It talks about building a new foundation for yourself, or building foundations for yourself. It talks about finding stability in your life. And then let's simplify that even more. Let's bring it down to the 2s. So we talked about spirit guides today, what they are. We're talking about numerology now. This is an educational video. So bringing it down to the 2s, and we want to simplify that more. That's your number 1. That's your master numbers, right? So the 2s, we want to talk about finding that balance yet again. We also want to talk about duality. There's not only one way to do things. Sometimes you got to do 2, right? Sometimes we have to juggle things. In order to make one thing work, we have to balance out something else sometimes, right? And that's what really you're talking about. So let's just backtrack just a quick second. We're juggling things. We're finding out another way. We're finding a new approach. We're finding balance in that. Now, we found the balance in that because we're like, okay, I think I got it. All right, got the system going. And now we're going towards movement, which is the number 8. We're going back. So now we're going to 8. I got a balance. I got a foundation. I got balance. I have duality in my life. Now I have movement happening. What's after the 8? Let's go into the 9, right? So now, I kind of want to do educational videos too now. So now we're going to the 9. The 9 is right before that finish line, okay? So we're back right over here. So now we're heading right back to this finish line over here. And it's like you're so close. You have everything. That's very true. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I would totally pin that comment. So now we're at a place where we can see what's ahead of us. We can see that completion because we have looked back and we saw that, you know, life was a little shitty a little bit and we had to change some things. So we're going into the 5. And now we can look forward, and what we'll see is that we're on the right path, right? And we can, it's spiritual. Going back to the very beginning of the read. This is spiritual. It's like I can now see the results of my actions. The end is like the new beginning almost. So we're not there yet at this current time. Maybe we'll do a follow-up on this reading. I can totally see us doing that, doing a follow-up on this reading. I might do that. Maybe next week we'll go do a follow-up on this reading. So here, now we can see the finish line, but we're not at the finish line yet. So, because now let's go forward, right? So now we're going forward. We're going back to the 1 or the 10s, right? So what happens when a cycle completes? It starts a whole new one. So that's kind of where we're at right now, guys. We are at a place where we have found balance, or we're trying to find balance. And we're at a place where we're really close to getting all the healing that we need done. And it's like you're starting to see the tunnel at the end of the light. And it's like you're almost there, but you got to keep pushing. But it's almost like in order to get that, you need to change your perspective a little bit. And sometimes that's really hard to do. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. Because going back to the beginning of reading of us being humans and having our minds in one certain track, I guess you can say. I don't know. That's not the right word. But Spirit's like... Spirit's done with you, by the way, right now. But... they're annoyed at this point. They're like, oh, remember we talked about it? It's like, oh, you don't want to manifest correctly? After we brought you what you asked for? So now it's like, you're on your own, sis. You didn't want to listen. Now you're on your own. So, I heard they're doing it out of love, but like, we had to talk about this already, okay? I'm sure they are, but nonetheless, it's like, now they're avoiding you for a little bit. And it's like, right, I know. You should watch the video of this reading. So, it's, they're avoiding you at this point. It's like, we love you, but you're on your own now. When you're ready, we'll be here. Maybe. Very likely. Spirit's like, stop it. We're not that mean. Alright, but that's going to be the reading. This was way better than the last one. We're probably going to do a follow-up on this type of reading. And if you guys like the whole little lessons inside, I actually enjoyed it. We might continue doing that, and maybe we'll make it like a Friday class thing or something. I'm down with it. So just let me know. Until next time, bye. Bye, B.